Hello everyone, welcome to today's session. In the previous session, we were discussing about directory file APIs. Okay. In today's session, we shall discuss about device file APIs, FIFO file APIs and then symbolic link file APIs. Device file APIs provide an interface between the device files and then the application programs. Okay. And a process that has got the super user privilege can create the device files by using mknode API. So here I have written the prototype of mknode. Let me discuss that later. So and then the user ID and group ID can be assigned for device file like how we are assigning for regular files. In the same way we can assign the user ID and the group ID for device files also. And whenever a process performs read or write operations on a device file, then it will look for the major device number and also the minor device number in order to select the particular device driver function for particular read or write operation on the device file. Okay. So we have already discussed about major device number and then minor device number in the previous session itself. So major device number is nothing but an index in the kernel which maintains a table of different device driver functions corresponding to the different devices. Okay. Whereas minor device number is nothing but the argument that will be passed to the device driver function. Both major device number and minor device number decides what operation has to be performed on that particular device file. Okay. So this is, and next point is device files are implementation dependent. Okay. So it depends on the particular system. So that's why it is implementation dependent. This is the prototype. These two are the include statements. So this is the mknode API. It has got 3 arguments and the return type is integer. So it returns 0 if the API has executed successfully, okay, and -1 in case of any error. And 3 arguments. The first argument specifies the path name of the device file, whereas the second argument mode, it specifies the access permissions for owner, group and others. Okay. So we have already discussed about this mode argument in the Open API itself. So that means read, write, execute permission for owner, group and then others. And along with this, there is one more access flag is used to indicate whether it is a block device file or character device file. So there are 2 types of device files, block device file and then character device file. We have already discussed about that in the previous sessions. Okay. And the third argument is the device ID. Device ID, it consists of the major device number and the minor device number. So let us write one example here. This is the API. So I am creating a file, device file SCSI5. Okay, so this is the first argument and the second argument is C. Since as I told you, I can make use of the access flag to indicate whether I am creating a block device file or a character device file, right. So here I am making use of this access flag to indicate it is a block device file. Suppose if it is a character device file, in that case we have to make use of the access flag S_IFCHR. Okay. And then next, read, write, execute for users, read, write, execute for group, read, write, execute for others. So second argument is done. And the third argument here, so 15 is the major device number, okay, and 3 is the minor device number. Okay, so this is the major device number and minor device number. Then what about this left shift 8? Okay, so actually modern computers are almost they are typically of 32 bits. Okay, if I am just making use of the number, that should be converted to 32 bits number. So that's why we are making use of bitwise left shift operator with the value 8. That means 8 times we are just moving the bits of this number 8 times, okay, to the left side. So that's why we have to make use of left shift 8. So this is all about device file APIs and then MKNode API. Now let's write the program that illustrates the usage of this API, okay. This program takes the inputs through the command line arguments, okay. So let me write the possible command here, okay. I am trying to execute the command with the inputs. So I am creating a device file, so let it be a df1. So let it be this, the name of the device file, okay, and one more input is the major number and minor number. So totally how many arguments? 1, 2, 3, 4. So here argv of 0 refers to the command, argv of 1 refers to the file name, and 2 refers to the major device number, and then 3 refers to the argv of 3 refers to the minor device number, okay. So here in the program, initially I am just checking the condition. If the argument count is not equal to 4, in that case there will be some error because the proper arguments for creating the device file is not given. In that case, see error usage, and I am just printing that value and I am terminating here itself. So return 0. If the argument is given properly, in that case what I am doing here, so major number, so this will be read as a string, that will be read as a string, right. So that string will be stored as ASCII in the memory, so that has to be converted to integer. So that's why we are making use of ASCII to integer function, okay, and I am passing this argv of 2. So that is the major device number. Same way for minor device number, I am calling the ASCII to integer function, and this is the minor device number, that means argv of 3, okay. So after that I am calling the MKNode API. MKNode, what is the return type of MKNode API? It's an integer, so that's why left hand side it will look for an integer variable, okay. But right now I have nothing to do with that return value of this MKNode. So what I am doing, I am just typecasting this to void, okay. So here the argument, the name of the file, so df1, that is argv of 1, okay. Next, the second argument is nothing but the access permissions and also whether it is a character device file or block device file, okay. So I am making use of character device file and read that execute for user group and then others, okay. And then major number, I have already converted this to integer and it is stored in the variable major. Similarly, it is stored in the variable minor, the minor number. I am just passing over here. So now a device file df1 will be created. So next part here, I am declaring a variable rc and I am initializing this with the value 1, okay. Next step, I am calling this open API and I am trying to open this df1, okay, with the read write permission. So argument v of 1 means the file, I am trying to open this file with the read write option and then non-block option. These values we have already discussed when we were discussing about the open API, okay. So now the open API returns a file descriptor which is of type integer. So here this open API returns a file descriptor for df1 that is stored in fd. So next step, I am creating a buffer of 256 bytes and next I am just checking the condition if rc is 1 and file descriptor is not equal to -1. So file descriptor will be -1 if there is any error when opening the file. So I am just checking here, if fd is not equal to -1, in that case I am calling this read API. So read API will read the okay, specified number of bytes from the file that is mentioned as the file descriptor. So here file descriptor is for df1, okay, and next buffer. So the number of bytes that is read from this FD will be stored in the buffer, BUF buffer, okay. And how many bytes we are reading? We are reading according to the size of buffer, that means 256 bytes. I am just checking here, okay. If it is less than 0, so I am just checking here and I am assigning this to RC. So it returns the number of bytes that is read successfully from the file that is referenced by the file descriptor, okay. If it is less than 0 means some error. So I am just checking the condition. If it is less than 0, so some error, so that is represented by P error. Otherwise the value that is read will be stored in RC, right? So I am just checking the condition, else if RC, that means any non-zero value will be returned as true. In that case I am printing the buffer, that means I am just printing whatever that is read from the file. Which file? The device file. And in this example, in this case, it is nothing but df1 which we have created using mknode. So this is the and finally I am closing the file descriptor, okay. That's it. So this is the program that illustrates the usage of mknode API, and then how the device file can be opened and used for performing read operation. So now let's move on to the next type of file APIs, that is FIFO file APIs. FIFO files are also called as pipes or pipe files, okay. So here the processes, that it will be that pipe or that FIFO file will be shared only between the related processes that has the common ancestor who has created this file, okay. So the pipe or that FIFO file is nothing but a buffer, so that will be shared between only the related processes. So related processes means those processes will have a common ancestor, that means both will be created by the same person. I mean same person here in the sense by the same process, okay. And here the data is accessed in first out manner, and FIFO files can be created by making use of MK-FIFO API. So here this is the prototype, and we have the include statements, and MK-FIFO, the first argument, it has got 2 arguments. The return type is integer. So this API returns 0 if this is executed successfully, and -1 if there is any error. The first argument says the path name, that means the name of the FIFO file that has to be created, and second argument specifies the access permission for user, group and others. Along with that, one more flag will be specified to indicate this is a FIFO file. So this is the example MK-FIFO. We are creating a FIFO file by name FIFO5, and then the access flag, this indicates we are creating a FIFO file, okay. And this one, read, write, execute for owner, read for group and read only for others, okay. And here the FIFO files can be opened by using open APIs, and also normal IO functions can be done by using read or write APIs, okay. Like normally how we perform the different IO functions such as the read operation, write operation, unlink operation, everything can be done by using the APIs. So next important concept is, whenever a process opens a FIFO file for reading, okay. So whenever a process opens a FIFO file, nothing but a pipe, okay, let us assume like that. Whenever a process opens a FIFO file or a pipe for reading, in that case the kernel will block the process until another process has completed writing into the pipe or into the FIFO file, okay. So whenever a process has opened to read from a FIFO file or a pipe, in that case the kernel will block this process until another process, okay, has completed writing into the pipe. Same way, whenever a process tries to write into the file, write into the FIFO file or write into the pipe, in that case the kernel will block the process until the other process has completed the reading operation on the same FIFO file. So this provides a means of synchronization between the processes that is very much required for inter-process communication. Okay, that means the communication between two processes. So this feature will provide the synchronization, so that is very much required for the inter-process communication. Okay, so whenever the FIFO is full, okay, whenever the FIFO file is full, or whenever I can say whether the pipe is full, in that case the process has to be blocked if it is trying to write into that FIFO file. Same way, whenever the FIFO file is empty, the process has to be blocked if it is trying to perform read operation on that file. Okay, so this will make the process to block during particular operations. Anyways, if we don't want to block the process, in that case we have to make use of the option O underscore non-block in the Open API. Okay, so whenever we are trying to open a FIFO file, if we don't want the process to get blocked with a FIFO full or FIFO empty conditions, we can make use of O non-block option with the Open API. Okay, so this API will not block the process if the FIFO file is full and the process is performing the write operation. It will not block the process. Instead of that, it will generate a signal called SIG pipe, okay, indicating that the process is performing illegal operation. Okay, so here the process will not be blocked if we make use of this option with the Open API. Instead of that, what will happen? This signal will be generated to indicate the process that illegal operation is happening. Okay, so this is about FIFO file. There is one more API, okay, that is called pipe API, that is supported in the FIFO files. So this is another method, that is pipe. This is mainly used for inter-process communication, and this is the prototype. Okay, so here the return type is integer. So this method or this function returns 0 if it is executed successfully, -1 if there is any error. Okay, and if it is executed successfully, in that case this function it will read from FDS of 0, okay, and so it will write into FDS of 1. So if this function is executed successfully, in that case, so this will read from FDS of 0 and write the content into FDS of 1. Okay, so now let's discuss a program that illustrates the usage of different FIFO file APIs. This program it takes 3 arguments. Okay, so along with the command, so /a for execution. So let it be FIFO file okay 1, or else this might take 2 arguments. So the program works for both of the type of inputs. Okay, in the first case, that means if the argument is just 2 and if there is only one file name, in that case, so this file has to be opened for read operation and it performs the read operation. Okay, and in case of second type of input, so here it will be opened for write operation, and then the content from the file FIFO file 2 has to be written into FIFO file 1. So this program will perform these operations. It might take this, okay, or else this. So this program can work for both reader process and then writer process. So include statements and then argument count. I am just checking if it is not equal to 2 and not equal to 3, some error. Otherwise I am creating a variable, I am declaring a variable, file descriptor and then buffer, okay. And next I am calling the API mkfifo. I am creating a file. I am creating the file fifo1, that is fifo file 1. This indicates it is a FIFO file, and then read write execute permissions for owner, group and then others. The return type is of integer, so I am not holding that integer value on left hand side, so that's why I am typecasting this into void, okay. And then I am checking here, if the argument count is 2, I have to perform read operation, okay. So if it is 2, I am opening the argv of 1, that means FIFO file 1 for read only operation with the option non-block. As I said, if this option is used, in that case, if this file tries to open the for read, if a process tries to open this file for read operation, okay, if it is empty, in that case the process will be not blocked. Instead of that, it gets the SIG pipe signal indicating that some illegal operation will take place, okay. So here we are checking read operation, file descriptor, so buffer, size of buffer, if it is read and if it is returning -1, that means there is nothing to read, some error has been taken place. In that case, the process has to sleep, that means the process has to wait, okay, that means some illegal operation has taken place, the process has to sleep. Otherwise, if it is greater than 0, that means some amount of data is read from the file. In that case, I am printing the content, what is that is read from the file. So where it will be stored? It will be stored in buffer, okay. So this is in case of reading, okay. That means when the argument count is 2. When it is 3, that means else condition here. I am opening this FIFO1 for write only option, okay, and I am calling the API write. So here for this FIFO file, it returns a file descriptor, right. For this FIFO file, I am writing the content from argv of 2, that means, so ff2, argv of 2 means FIFO file 2. From here to here, I will be performing write operation. Like how many number of bytes, like how many number of strings are present in FIFO file 2. So that's why I am checking strlen of argv of 2, okay. So for specified number of bytes will be written from the FIFO file 2 to FIFO file 1. And at last I am closing the file by using close API, okay. So this is about FIFO file APIs. Now let's move on to the next concept, that is symbolic link file APIs. Symbolic links are nothing but indirect pointer to a file, okay. In the previous session we have already discussed about the hard links and then symbolic links, and also the type of file, that is symbolic link file, okay. Hard links are nothing but it's like a it will point to the same inode number of the existing file, whereas symbolic link, it's like an indirect pointer to a file, okay. So symbolic links are, or symbolic link files are used to overcome the limitations of hard links. So here in case of symbolic links, we can link the files across file system, so which is a limitation in the case of hard link. But in case of symbolic links, we can link the files across file system, and also we can link the directory files in case of symbolic link files, okay. So these are the APIs that are available with symbolic link files. So include statements and symlink. Symbolic links can be created by using symlink API, but the command used to create a symbolic link is ln for hard link, ln with option S, it's for symbolic link, okay. So similarly for symbolic link, the API is symlink. So here the first parameter is the name, that means the current file, that means the original link. The second one means the symbolic link that is created to the original file. Okay, and this returns integer 0 if it is successful, -1 if there is any error. Similarly, we can read from a symbolic link file by using read link. It takes 2 arguments, that means the first one, the path name of the symbolic link from which it has to be read, okay, and then the buffer, that means the read content has to be stored into this buffer, and third one, the number of bytes, that is nothing but the size. Okay, again the return type is 0 or -1. And then LSTAT, this we have already discussed. This is used to retrieve the information of the attributes of a symbolic link file. So the first parameter is the path name of the symbolic link file, and then second parameter is the file attribute information. So this we have already discussed when we were discussing about STAT, FSTAT and LSTAT API. Okay. So this is a program, I mean actually I have not written the include statements. Okay. So this is a program that is used to emulate the ln command, or else it is used to create a symbolic link for a file. This program takes the command line argument. Okay. So here it works for both type of inputs. So in the first case, let it be link 1, okay, link 2, similarly S1, S2. Okay. So in the first case, there are 3 arguments, okay, whereas in the next case there are 4 arguments. If I am using -s option here in the command prompt through the command line argument, I have to create the symbolic link, otherwise I have to create the hard link. Okay. So let me check the program here. So if argument count is 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, I am creating a symbolic link. So that's why I am calling the API symlink argv of 2 and 3. So here if it is argv of 0, then it will be 1, it will be 2 and it will be 3. Okay. So here I am creating symbolic link argv of 3 to argv of 2. Okay. So that's what I am calling here. I am returning this to main function. Okay. If in case the argument count is 3, in that case I have to create the hard link. Already we have seen that link API can be used to create a hard link. So here hard link will be created. So argv of 1, that means this one, for this L1, L2, that is the hard link will be created. So this is all about symbolic link file APIs. Okay. So this completes the module 2 of Unix system programming subject. So in this module we have discussed about the starting from the different types of files, and then Unix and POSIX file system, and then file attributes, inode structures, and Unix kernel support for files. Okay. And then symbolic links, and then hard links. Okay. Then differences between or relationship of C stream pointer and then the file descriptor. And then we discussed about Unix file APIs, the general file APIs like open, create, read, write, stat, fstat, okay, chmod, chown and so on. And next we discussed about directory file APIs, then device file APIs, and symbolic link file APIs, and FIFO file APIs. Okay. So hope you have understood all the concepts. Thank you.